RBC 15, oh boy, guys. This one, well, let's start with Khaalid versus Drew Garcia on the lead up to the so-called biggest fight in the history of the sport. This is one of those where, I mean, it's closer on paper, to be honest. It's much closer than what you think it's gonna be. Drew Garcia, the really only thing that I've really ever associated him with was he was a beast on Showtime. Alright, he beat top level guys on Showtime, he was very good. But this is the real test for him. You can be a legend in side leagues and just fail in the real thing. That's a definite possibility. Right now, the way I see it, this has a chance to be a number one contenders match at this point. I mean, Drew Garcia is coming off a big win over Thur Rashad. And now he takes on Khaalid Rashad. And why I say this is a number one contenders match, the main reason truly being that, well, who else is there truly to compete? SSI is coming off a loss to Jakub Jakowski and that open fight loss to Harry Holokin, which doesn't count in this record, but that's still a demoralizing defeat for him. And whether I like it or not, the main event is probably going to feature Cruzaro because money. I mean, because that probably is a big draw. But no matter whether I like it or not, I think this fight determines a lot, to be honest, on where Cruzaro is going to be on that card. Khaalid Rashad is one of the more underappreciated fights. He's very, very polarizing. You either love him or you hate him. I don't have a stance on him. That's also an interesting point. However, he wins this fight. Let's say he wins this fight. He is basically cleaned out everyone else. I mean, Casper DeVries is no longer a contender. He's out of the picture. And then you also take anyone else out of the picture. Drew Garcia, for the time being, SSI. We could keep building and have another fight night, but most likely we're going to go to RBC 15 and you're going to plan booking from here. So now from T-Mobile, now from MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada, you have your number one contenders match. I can't say who's going to win, but I can say close fight. Very close fight. It's going to really be determined on whether or not Drew Garcia can hold off Rashid's power shots. I can't gauge both guys very well. I mean, I've seen Khaalid fight plenty of times in the past, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen. I think when I've been watching him, he's about 2-2. And the only two losses ever come to Cruzaro. Remember, guys, Khaalid Rashad, his only losses ever have came to Cruzaro, and he has put up a damn good fight. I think for people who hate him, you need to understand that this dude's a really good boxer. You need to understand that this dude knows how to fight. He's been dominating people that are not named the Golden Boy, and he has taken that Golden Boy to deep waters. I think we lost appreciation for him after the third fight. After what happened. It's not fair to him. Well, technically it is fair, but it's not fair to his abilities. Because the dude is one of the better fighters ever. He has reshaped his game. He still has that knockout power that we all know. However, he's become a little more technical. He's much better technically now. He showed it in the Dax fight where he really took his time. He didn't really pressure. And that's what the new system has proved, is that you need to be a little more technical. You can't just go in there. He's much smarter a fighter now, and I think that's very good for him. And he just beat one of the big contenders in Casper DeVries. Hasn't a title shot yet. This is it for him. Now, if Drew wins, you're going to be asking me, well, he needs to find someone else. He's only 3-3. No. If you beat Khaalid Rashad, it's going to be one of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport by far. Who else do you need to actually fight? It's one of those things where you're at the top here. It took you one fight with a Rashad to get to here. If you pull this off, this is the biggest opportunity of your career. You pull this off, you're fighting for that world title against Cruzaro. Now, The question here is, where is the spot of Cruzaro on a fight card depending on the victor? I could be totally wrong here, and it could be going to someone else. But who else is going to fight for that belt? You want Cruzaro on your biggest fight card ever. You want him probably the main event. You're not getting him on the main event if Drew Garcia is on there. You could try and justify it, but it wouldn't hit as much. You need a super fight. You need a fight that's pretty much been the course of RBC history. I say it's a fight that's never happened before. You can make it the first quadrilogy in the history of the sport. Or we keep waiting. Look, man, I've been saying it for a long time. I don't think Cruzaro needs to be on the biggest card of all time. I understand your need to. I understand that he basically helped the popularity of the sport grow. He transcends the sport. But RBC 14 was massive because of him. It was a massive event. I think really what needs to happen right now, you can build an even bigger fight. You can build even more intrigue. I think RBC 15, find someone else for Cruzaro to fight. Put him at the co-main event. But and what I would think you should do is have Khaalid or Shad fight Jakub Biankowski for a true number 1 contenders fight. Make Drew Garcia gap in the road. He's just another guy he needs to face to get to the top. And then you have the fight. Because Jakub versus Khaalid is like two guys who want to get that top of the mountain. You have to fight to truly get that spot. Let Cruzaro take a mini break. He deserves it. Anyway, I'm sorry, I had a call there. Anyway, I don't think that's fair for me to say that because Drew Garcia also wants a shot at the title. We're talking about what's actually going to happen. You have one or two options. You have to have Drew Garcia fight, probably the co-main event spot, probably pushing back Ozzy and NJJ for the main event to be obviously Tams versus Bogai, which I think is on the mind of most people. Or you have Khaalid versus Cruzaro 4. Biggest fight of all time. You gotta hype it up like that. To be fair, it's a very big fight. And now that we've seen the aftermath of what happened with Jakub versus Cruzaro, it could be very fair to say that. It could be that fight where you're looking back on all the amazing Cruzaro and Khaalid fights. How they basically shaped the sport. How the third fight was massive with controversy and all over the place. It's a great rivalry. And it's going to be a gangbusters fight. I am not going to doubt that will probably eclipse what Ray wants to hit in that. What Ray wants to have in viewership. It's going to be massive. Is it the best thing for the sport? Maybe. I mean, I could be completely wrong here. I've been trying to push Ozzy versus NJJ to be the main event the whole time because I think it's one of the most important fights of all time because it's basically the two best in the sport. But here's what we're looking at. Drew could legitimately beat Khaalid. I don't think there's a doubt where we're saying that he's I don't think everyone's saying he's totally gonna lose. I mean, he's gonna get destroyed. Much closer fight on paper. Much closer fight, in my opinion. I think there's a definite chance he's gonna win. I'm not saying you should pick him. I'm not saying the upset's the right way to go here because look, oh my goodness, Khaalid Rashad, I mean, he's been virtually unstoppable since coming back. I mean, Cassie DeVries had some semblance of hope, but it was then thrown away by the 5th round, I believe. Khalid's a different animal. And we need to start taking him, giving him the respect he deserves. He really needs it, guys. And he's got a path to the title. He's going to take it, and he might win it. We never know. Khaalid Rashad might win the undisputed RBC welterweight champion. He might be that in a month or so. And I mean, hey, the trash talk's not gonna help. Because he may actually do it. That's what we need to think about. He might actually do this. So I'm gonna ask you guys, what do you think is gonna happen? What I just said was right, or do you think that the other idea I presented could happen? I don't think so. I mean, totally not. I think this is number one contenders fight, but I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know what's going through Ray's mind. But yeah, that's what I got.